Hello and welcome to Onyx PathCon 2022. Yay!
Woo!
Hey.
Bit late, but we got you there. Appreciate it, Matthew.
Matthew
well,
had a
I'm not-
delay because of the time difference.
No. I did it deliberately.
Yeah, the entire delay of starting this opening ceremonies is because of Matthew.
Yeah, I'm 7 minutes behind everyone else. So for me, right now, it is
His time is metric.
Yes.
It is certainly not because I
No.
hit the button to start streaming and then it was like, that stream key doesn't work anymore. And I was like, what the frick?
No, it wasn't that.
Thank you, Travis.
Well, for our 10th anniversary, we got a brand new stream key, and just didn't tell everybody. It's fine.
It's a commemorative one.
We're doing our best. We're doing our best.
But yes, no, it's been 10
1 week.
years.
Sorry.
Yes, that's something we've been noticing is that every time someone says it's a lot of our brains go 1 week since you looked at
Yeah,
me.
you can't say it's been around a millennial.
I
It's
know.
been.
I'm not a millennial, so it does to me too. So
Yeah, well, you're special.
It's
So
true.
special.
You think you're special?
I just watched WrestleMania 17, but anyway.
So welcome to the film music lyrics combined to our conversations.
Yes. Good thing I haven't. Anyway, I was about to make a Leonard Cohen joke.
Let's
but we
talk
should
about
probably
Onyx
introduce
Path.
ourselves.
No.
What?
Welcome to Onyx Path. For those of you who don't know, my name is Eddie Webb. My pronouns are he, him. I am one of the in-house developers and now the executive producer at Onyx Path Publishing. And ostensibly, I'm supposed to be keeping this stuff going, but clearly that's not working out the way I intended.
There's pure optimism on your part to think it would.
I live in hope. You'd think after doing these things with you for 15 years, I would learn, but I still do not. But Dixie, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Dixie Cochran. I'm one of the other in-house developers here at Onyx Path Publishing. I'm also the editor-in-chief. I am running this Twitch tech. And fun fact, good thing this convention is virtual because I have COVID. So I've been announced on a bunch of panels, and if I don't make it to any of them, y'all now know why. I just want to get that out of the way up front. And also please excuse any grittiness in my throat or coughing that may happen from time to time. I tested positive yesterday, so God knows what the next few days are going to be like. But I'm actually really excited to be here, and this can just attest to the power of Dayquil. So,
Yes, I figured COVID was just an excuse to be drunk on Dayquil all weekend, honestly.
I'm not
It's
drunk on Dayquil.
Nowhere near the alcohol content of what NyQuil used to be.
Yeah, you get drunk on
I know that.
NyQuil. You get on Dayquil.
Oh, okay. I'm not a junkie like you.
I mean, it's basically liquid Adderall. So I'm not taking my Adderall right now, so I can take Dayquil.
Right, Matthew.
Well, I hate to say this, but when Dixie announced that she had COVID, our live viewer numbers dropped by about 5. So I think those are people who are afraid to catch
It doesn't go through the.
It's
So
a
virtual.
good thing this is virtual.
Yeah,
No one's
well,
forcing me to be here. They all offered to cover for me.
Well, I didn't. But the good news is
True.
the viewer numbers have subsequently gone back up. So I will introduce myself. It's now worthwhile. My name is Matthew Dawkins. I'm the creative strategist at Onyx Path Publishing. I'm one of the in-house developers. I oversee a bunch of game lines you're probably aware of. World of Darkness, They Came From,
Never heard of
among
it.
others. I don't know what these books are beside me.
You made those up.
Yes, they're blank. I'm like on a film set right now. I could take them off and it would just be a cardboard box. That's a game. I worked on that one, Eddie.
Cardboard box game.
Yes.
Monarchies of the Cardboard Box. But yes, very happy to be here. Looking forward to lots of panels and games that we'll be talking about soon. And wonderful to be here on this side of the Atlantic, speaking to all of my transatlantic colleagues and all of you fans, customers alike.
There's a hype train.
Hype
We got a
train.
hype train incoming.
As the hype train kicks off, Rich, tell us about yourself. Who you
Hype,
are.
hype,
Hey.
hype.
Well, first let me to start this
Oh yes, the bell.
Oh,
third
Now
Onyx
officially
Path
started.
virtual convention with the ceremonial ringing of the silver bell, and it is a time for ceremonies and rituals because it is not only our third virtual convention, it is also our 10th year of doing business as Onyx Path, and we're so pleased, excited, thrilled, and proud to be able to be here with all of you and be able to talk about the things that we all mutually love, which is the game worlds and the playing of the games and just having a good time and creating some amazing pieces of art. So my name is Rich Thomas, founder and creative director of Onyx Path Publishing.
Excellent.
Hello.
Woo.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been 10 years.
It's been 10 years, and it's been. I keep doing that. Now I can't stop doing that.
Yeah, it's a band.
I'm obsessed with
It's
it.
been a while.
But no, the
Keep
past,
trying. It's not happening.
on the one hand, I mean, as someone who's been involved with this all the way through, it feels like it's been really long, but also kind of a minute.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange. I mean, on the one hand, I clearly remember the initial conversations that led up to the creation of Onyx Path Publishing, and I remember the initial the initial kind of like getting things sorted out with the licenses and whatnot, and helping the from the CCP side, helping things kind of get things out the door.
Mm-hmm.
But also, so much has changed in the past 10 years. It's been a wild ride, and I'm looking forward to another time.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting because us talking about that 10-year anniversary means that I've actually been freelancing with the company for 7 years. Because my
Wow.
first project was in 2015, which was the Demon Translation Guide, as I said on the podcast. And then I came on full time a couple years later. So yeah, like I've not been here since the very beginning, but I've been good friends with Rose Bailey for a while, so I feel like I've like known what was happening around
In the
for a little bit.
peripheries.
Yeah. Like I've
We're
always kind of-
connected.
Yeah. But no, it's wild to think that I've been working for Onyx Path in some capacity for that long. Yeah, it's great. It's exciting. I'm glad we're still putting things out.
Yeah, I've been involved with the company since 2013. That's when I made my first contribution to a book with Book of the Worm. And ever since then, it's been nothing but work. Non-stop.
Drudgery.
No, incredibly satisfying and rewarding work. It makes me want to spring out of bed every morning with and I can't wait for the next great game that I happen to work on. But no, it has been great fun and not
Honey,
all
I had
past
the
tense.
book dream again.
Yeah, I thought that a book I was working on got released. It must have been a dream.
I waited a couple of years. It'll come out.
But no, it's been great fun, and certainly don't want that to just sound historic. It is great fun working for Onyx Path, and it's so fantastic that we've got so many people tuning in to watch this live. You know, that you're supporting not only us as people or our company, but also no doubt you're fans of the games we put out. We obviously spend an awful lot of time on them, trying to get them just right, and well, hopefully the fact that you're all here to watch is testament to the fact that they are doing what we intend. So if you haven't yet, and I'm going to make this regular call in pretty much every panel I happen to be on, if you haven't yet, it isn't just panels, this convention. Well, the panels will be fantastic and you should definitely tune into them. It's also
All of
lots
them.
and lots of games, every single one, but not all of them, because you also want to make room to play games. And the website, you will be able to find it. It's going to be linked in the chat, I have no doubt, very shortly. You can sign up to, I think there's somewhere like 20 something games left with slots, and that's a lot of games. So even if it's a game you've never played before, what I love about games conventions is I go to them and I play in games I never get a chance to play anywhere else. I even run games I never get a chance to run anywhere else. This is an opportunity to
Grab
do
those
that.
empty seats.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
if you're
definitely.
camera shy, don't worry, because most of these are going to be conducted just voice only on our Discord or wherever the GM sees fit. So you don't need a fantastic webcam. You don't need to worry about your face or whose skin you're wearing on it. All you need to do is turn up, play the game, and have fun. And so please do that. It is a grand opportunity to play something you wouldn't normally get a chance to do.
Woo, thank you for all the gift subs, Zach, and also thanks for more Hype Train.
Yeah, there's a lot, and you know, I'm going to add something further, because no one can shut me up.
It's true.
And
We've tried.
so far.
We've tried.
yeah, I mean, as I said, it's been since 2013, and they haven't found the off switch
I
yet.
actually can kick you from the Zoom.
Yeah, but that would screw up the layout, wouldn't it?
Don't
So
care.
Oh, okay.
Worth it.
Well,
Travis would weep.
well, if you did, people wouldn't hear about the charity aspect. I know some people
Oh,
find
okay.
I know some people find charity boring. It's not.
I
We
love
are.
charity. I love charity. Please.
We're partnered with the Bodhana Group, who are a fantastic group. Rich can tell us more about, but in short, as I know them,
Eventually.
they are a wonderful group
There's ever a pause.
that uses TTRPGs as therapeutic tools. Please consider donating money to them as part of this convention. Every single game you sign up to play, a part of the money that you're putting down to play in these games is going to the Bodhana Group.
40%.
40%.
And 50% goes to the GM, so nothing's going to us. The other is processing fees and start playing. So we are not making money off of these games. It's for charity and for the GMs who are running the games. All of them are running them voluntarily.
So Rich, would you like to tell us about the Bodhana Group?
Well, we're gonna have Jack Birkenstock, who's the founder of the Bodhana Group, in I think tomorrow
Tomorrow at 2:30.
at 2:30.
I've got all my panels on Post-it notes.
Excellent. I have them written down, but I don't have my glasses on, and at this point, I can't read a thing without them.
That is,
So,
that is Post-it note too.
but I first met Jack many years ago, and at a convention that was in Pennsylvania, and it was kind of local for me. It was only a couple hours drive, and I popped in to sort of he mentioned that he was doing this thing, and I thought, I'm going to surprise Jack. He seems like a nice guy, and also I wanted to see what the local gaming scene was like, because this was close to 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And when I got there, it was a big game store. Lots of people were playing, and discovered that there were huge fans all over the place. And Jack and I just started talking a little bit about why they were running the convention, which was a convention for charity. And it was because they were trying to find ways to use what they love playing and doing, playing games and role-playing games and board games and just all kinds of games, and the work that they were doing as in therapy and in social work and things like that. And sat around and talked for a little while, and little time went by, and Jack reached out to me and said, hey, I was thinking about that conversation we had, and I think this is what I want to do. And I was like, this is fantastic. Over the years, I had heard stories from various fans of the games that we created back in the old day with White Wolf, and so I knew that that gaming, tabletop role-playing games would have in the past been responsible for people feeling more comfortable with themselves, social interactions, even giving them knowledge and information that people other parts of where they live did not know about, all kinds of things. So I really felt like this was a really, really good thing. And then as the Bodhana Group developed, it has become more and more the place people look for when they're looking for information about how can we use role-playing games to assist in the therapeutic process. And this is, I'm talking serious therapists, people who do this thing with degrees and with certificates and everything like that, not necessarily just, you should not try to do therapy on your buddies while you're playing around a table.
Right.
If you are not a trained professional.
Yeah, no, that is a safety concern.
It's
not do that.
That can be messed up. But these are trained professionals. These are people who this is their vocation. This is their dream. And they've been doing a lot of things, and Jack actually will be beaming into us from their booth in Origins which is running this weekend as well. So they have expanded out into the gaming space so that people can find them better, and hopefully continue to build this network of people who are helping people.
Absolutely. No, they
role-playing
are
games.
Yes, they're a fantastic group. I mean, if you haven't been to Save Against Fear, it's a small convention, but it's really, really fun. Everyone's there is very, very cool. And also, I know just listening to all of the therapists that use these role playing games, I've learned a ton just about my own craft. Thinking about how the things that like, well, it would be cool if games did more of this, or these are the things that we find are really beneficial for gaming, helps me to look at those games in a new light, and our games in a new light. And it's certainly so. I mean, not only is it just, hey, it's great for people who are getting therapy, but also I think our games have gotten genuinely better as a result of our exposure to the Madonna group. So.
Yeah, I
Yep.
can definitely see that. I've always enjoyed talking with everybody over there. Saving a Sphere is a really fun small con. Like it is one of those things where like I wasn't sure what how I'd feel on day one because I was like, oh, there's a lot of people here. I'm used to like your Gen Cons and your PAXs and your Dragon Cons and what have you. But I had a really great time, and they have a lot of talks too at those that are just for professionals.
Yep.
Which is a very big departure from obviously most of the cons that we go to because most of them it's like anybody can go to this talk about storytelling or safety tools or horror games or whatever, but they actually have a lot of talks that are attended by professionals who maybe aren't familiar with role-playing games, and so they're trying to learn about how to integrate this into their work.
Yeah, more tools for what they do.
Yeah, because there's a whole lot of people talking about how much role playing can teach you teamwork and empathy and a bunch of other things. Also, can help you face fears. So yeah, like I think it's really cool, and I've met so many people over the years, probably myself included, who have used role play to explore some aspect of their identity before they were like comfortable talking about it. And that's everyone I know who role plays and is also not your cis straight white hetero person. Like
Right.
everyone's like oh yeah, no, I played this for years before I ever came out, and it's like, oh, okay. So I think it's a really useful tool in a lot of ways, and I love that Madonna is doing it in a like legit clinical setting as somebody who deals with mental illness and who cares a lot about mental health.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Something I kind of want to loop back on a little bit is as I talked earlier about how a lot has changed in the past 10 years. And we're going to talk more about all the different projects we're working on, both ones that have been announced. We'll be announcing some new ones throughout the weekend, so stay tuned. If there's a particular game line you're interested in, definitely check out that game lines panel. If you're just kind of looking for a higher view of what we're doing with the company, we'll also talk a little bit at the What's Up with Onyx Path panel, which has been our main stay for every year.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
had one for
Well, you said 15 years, Eddie.
yeah, I mean, we did 5 years of White Wolf and then 10 years of Onyx Path, so we've been doing that for a long time. We got that down to a science that is very dodgy and
Yep.
not well researched.
You and I could walk into a room and just babble for an hour with no problem whatsoever.
Whereas
It's
I
true.
think, didn't I get thrown into my first one at Gen Con when I had to take over for Rose when she
Yes,
got
you had to pretend to be
sick?
Rose Bailey. Yes, that was your
Yeah.
first.
So I didn't know shit. They were like, hey, can you talk about this stuff? I was like, I guess. They're like, you know about Cavaliers of Mars? And I'm like, I mean, I edited it a year ago.
It's
You're
like a
reading the
book,
manuscript before
and
the
there's
panel.
words
Yes.
in it.
Megan Fitzgerald and I sat in the bar and skimmed the entire book the night before. Yes. Because we were like, what should we say? But that's a different story. But yeah, no, it's been 15 years of that panel, and that is a great panel for checking things out.
Indeed, indeed. But I mean, obviously, again, some things have changed. One, for example, we're able to do a convention just for our company, even though it is in this virtual environment. But another thing is, I think it's worth kind of emphasizing that 2020 was rough. That cascaded into 2021 production problems, and we're still struggling with those, particularly on the printing and shipping ends. And
paper
Rich, I don't know if you want to
supply.
kind of talk a little bit more about kind of
Oh,
what's going on with that.
I don't want to, but it's a part of our existence right now.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
it's one of the things that is clogging our pipelines because we've had to reevaluate some of what gets done when, so we can be delivering things to our traditional printers in their windows,
Right.
which have been very truncated. We had previously been able to give them maybe a month's warning that a book was going to be coming their way, and they'd be ready for us, and we could just rock and roll. And it is now that they have times of the year that they're accepting
Yeah.
the press is running because of the various ramifications and repercussions of COVID. And it's something we all wish would just go away and everything was normal and back to pre-COVID, but it just isn't happening yet. It's maybe some things are evolving, and maybe some things are healing, and maybe some things will never be the same again. We, who knows? But what we do know is that right now, we have been working really, really hard with a couple of different printers to open up the channels, if you will. And I was just talking to one of the printer reps yesterday, who was trying to tell me how great everything is in China now, although they still have some paper shortages there. But that everything is printing and everything. And I said, well, how about getting it back to the United States? He's like, well, you can't really put a finger on when it'll get back.
Right.
I said, well, that would be problematic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not even, I mean, our stuff is books and they're made of paper, and sitting them on a dock for a while might not be the best thing, so yeah, so we're still batting away at that stuff, but things are certainly coming through and coming out, and we've got some fantastic projects that are just been sent to press, so it continues, it goes, but it's a bit of a bump. As an example, for those of you who are Hunter the Vigil fans, Hunter the Vigil second edition that we kickstarted really a while ago, had its own issues with getting through the production pipeline because of COVID. But then when we were ready to ship it out, they said, no, we can't take it now.
Yeah.
And it missed the window previously because we didn't know that. So we could have rushed it or pushed it, but at that stage we didn't know. So it is now in the window it's in now, which will be hopefully soon, in the next couple of months, we'll be seeing that thing come off the presses. So
yeah, it's been a lot of our books have been either hurry up and wait, or the other thing is like all of a sudden it's like, oh, we actually need to have this ready to go to the printer by X date, and all of us are like, okay, mobilize, to like get a bunch of last minute stuff done, like an index.
Yep.
I have a wonderful indexer who just turned an index around very quickly for us, which is great. But also it's one of those things where it's like
a professional indexer.
Either or.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, she's amazing.
Yep.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
I like to underline that because every once in a while somebody goes, oh yeah, you have those White Wolf indexes. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
That's not how we do it.
We have
don't
Onyx
do
Path
it like
indexes,
that.
which are much
Yes, and they're actually done by professionals, not by the developer searching through dings in his layout
better.
programmer's
Oh
word
God, I
program.
hated doing that so much. But yeah, no, I wanted to kind of make sure we talk through that because it's easy to go, oh, we're seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, and while that's true on some levels, we're going through a domino effect of we had a lot of problems about that, and we're just kind of starting to see slow change on that front. If you're really curious about kind of more a deeper dive of what happens on YouTube, if you do a search for extra credits and then extinction level events board games, I did a video for extra credits, which actually talks in more detail about this with some research I did with the help of Matt McElroy. And that really talks about there was no paper to be had in December 2021.
Yeah.
There were just none. So it's things like that we're dealing with. Shipping has tripled in cost in some places. Brexit happening in the middle of all this certainly didn't help as well. Thank you, Matthew.
Damn it, Matthew.
So
Yeah, I was obviously a vocal proponent for Brexit. No regrets.
no
Brexit
regrets,
means Brexit.
except for every regret.
All the regrets all at once.
Oh, thank you, Minoran. I'm glad that you appreciate that extra credits. But yeah, so I mean that's stuff that we're kind of all living through. But on the flip side, we have been finding new ways to streamline our processes internally. We've been finding ways to, we reorganized our duties a little bit so that we can make sure that attention is being more paid, so that everything up to the printing and shipping side can be done more efficiently. So that way we can reduce the amount of complexity that. And again, I mean, obviously we're still in a place where we're going to have freelancers occasionally get sick, but now we're looking at the level of, okay, you may be out for a week or two, or just powering through with Dayquil as a random example.
Just came to your head.
That does change the scope of things as before before it was okay, well, you may be out for months or may have to reassign this project.
Yep.
So
It's a scary time.
It's getting better, but I want to clarify that it still means that things are still gonna be weird for a while.
Yeah. Like, Vax and Boosted, you still don't know what you're gonna get. We had a freelancer recently who it hit really hard. Like I said, I'm on day 2. So far, so good.
Mhm.
Not that bad. But for all I know, it could get way worse overnight, you know? Like, I
Yeah,
have
no.
no idea. It's a pretty unpredictable thing with all the different strains out there and stuff. And yeah, the whole paper thing has been wild, because that is not fun when you make books for a living. To
Yeah.
suddenly hear, like, oh, there's a paper shortage and shipping sucks. We're like, but that's what we do.
Mhm.
We make things that get printed and shipped.
Right.
Yep.
And then as we're getting past the paper problems now, oil prices have changed, which means that we were getting the shipping prices are about to come down and they kind of just went back up.
Yep,
again.
more
So,
shipping issues, more shipping upticks. There's going to be more of those. There's just no way around it, and that's just something that we try to deal with. We try to be as cognizant of the everyone's budgets for fun, but at the same time, there's times where we just can't avoid. We have to uptick or whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The
And,
pricing. So
and this is not to be doom and gloom. This is more of like a state of the industry thing.
Right.
Usually for our opening stuff, we like talk about the kind of biggest picture.
Mhm.
Actually, it's weird. Our convention kind of follows the Monday meeting pattern. Like, big picture. Then we
Right.
zoom in on little individual
individual
things.
things. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's just the state of the industry right now. A lot of people have been talking about it. Like Eddie said, there's extra credits. I've seen a lot of other role-playing game publishers post blogs and things about it, post tweets about it. It's not an unknown factor. For a while, people were, I think, trying to, like, accuse Drive-Thru RPG of hoarding paper, and they're like, no, we just had our normal order. Like, it's just been wild.
Yes, the notoriously PDF forward companies hoarding paper.
Yeah. But also, it's just been wild in the, like, paper industry, which is a thing that I only would have said before if I was on the TV show The Office. So weird that the paper industry is suddenly very relevant.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd just like to throw in here Tom Merce Story Maze, a frequent storyteller
Tom.
of high repute, has actually just asked, is consumer behavior adapting to these conditions? And that's actually it's a really interesting question, because obviously there's some market data. There's also data we can acquire from trends from our customers. For instance, we might look at a crowdfunding campaign and see, are more people buying PDFs of this book than print versions, as opposed to, let's say, 2 years ago? Rich, you've probably got some info points on that.
I think that's definitely the case. I mean, obviously, in the United States and across the world, the economic situation has worsened, and
Mhm.
people have a little bit less that they can, put around, because everything else is costing so much more.
Mhm.
You mentioned gas prices, but that's that on an individual level that hits you too. So I think there is a little bit of a pullback, a little bit of let's be careful here. Fortunately, like the way we do our Kickstarters, people could see what they're going to get. They,
Right.
they they could read through the stuff if they've even pledged just a bit, or even with Indiegogo, they just go on and read the updates, and that gives you a little, at least a little bit more sense of security about what is this going to be, the sort of thing that you're going to be excited about when it actually arrives. So we do a little bit to try to help that out, and I think that the people respond to that pretty well. I do think that more people are going in for the PDFs and maybe hoping that they're going to get a turnaround later in
Mhm.
the year. Maybe
Yeah.
they'll get that raise, or maybe things will calm down and they'll feel more comfortable. So we understand. We're in the same situation, and I think also the big thing for what was happening with when we went into sequestering during COVID was that people started to really discover the virtual tabletop space, and so a lot more emphasis was put on that, and a lot more creators started to create things for that space, which was good for us, because then we could work out with several different creators uh, that they could be the people who take our work and transform it into a VTT playable, usable thing for the specific tabletops. We were doing
Yeah.
generic ones, which was great. They sell on drive-through. You can pick it up, put it into Roll20, put it into Fantasy Grounds, put it into whatever you want to do. But we weren't putting the things directly up there because we just didn't have the bandwidth. We're making these, the role-playing game books and things. So that opened up for us, and that's why in the last from since January we've been putting out a lot more direct on Roll20. There's some things on the Foundry. There's Scarlands, I think, items are showing up on Fantasy Grounds more, and so you can kind of see that we were able to move forward, and which is a direction we wanted to go for years. In 2020, we had the Onyx Path Summit in January.
Yeah,
We had
right before.
all of these plans for
I keep forgetting that we actually had an in-person summit in 2020. That was
Yeah.
in
in person
January.
with Post-it notes of all of
All
our
over the wall.
ideas, and we discussed them and we prioritized them. We
I
said
had a
what's
PowerPoint
doable,
presentation.
what's possible. Eddie put them into a PowerPoint presentation. It was beautiful, and then all hell broke loose. In was it March, April?
Yep, March.
Yep.
March.
And and that was the thing, and all of a sudden we now can't remember how many years ago it was we worked on a particular project, because that time frame has destroyed our minds.
I remember being super sad that we all went into lockdown right before my birthday, and now I've had 2 more COVID birthdays. I'm just like, that's what a birthday is now, I guess. I eat cake.
We
at
all had
home.
lots of birthdays. since
It's
then.
me.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
One candle and a cake
Well,
I
'cause
made myself for me.
remember, y'all, we were all gonna be in lockdown for 2 weeks to flatten the curve.
Yep.
At that time, and I was
Right.
like,
No
oh
one knew.
man.
I vaguely recall.
Oh, it's been a weird 2 years.
Or in your case, they locked you in the well.
Yes, luckily I was there with my family, so there was no shortage of food.
Water-based talk.
Yes.
And then your family's much smaller now.
Yeah.
But I mean, one of the things that you mentioned we're focusing on BGC more, and I mean to be fair, some of the change has been we had less convention expenses because
Yep.
we weren't traveling to conventions. So I mean there are some upsides to this too. It's not all doom and gloom. Also, we've been tweaking our crowdfunding strategy over the past couple of years.
Right.
For example, Dixie, we now have an Indiegogo project that's exciting for you, the Exodus.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
You remember that Exalted game that you like?
Oh, that one. The one I've got a
Yeah.
panel for at 7. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, I am super excited about the Indiegogo for Exigence. And it is a bit different for us because we're trying different things. But it's going smashingly. As Rich said, a lot of PDF pledges, which I kind of expected, especially because Indiegogo takes the money up front.
Mhm.
So I was trying to warn people about that. Like, if you're not going to get paid for a week, wait a week. That's fine. We're not mad about it. There's also going to be a backer kit portion of it. So if, like, you can't afford it right now and you want to still get the deluxe version, you should be able to do so through backer kit.
Absolutely.
Not a problem. So it looks a lot smaller than a lot of our other Exalted crowdfunding things, but I think it's more of a slow burn situation. And also, this is a book specifically for people who want to create their own Exalts, and some people don't, and that's fine too. But I think it's going to be more of a, like I said, like a slow thing as people get paid or they save up for it. That's one of the coolest things about it, because with the Kickstarter, I mean, yes, there's backer kit, but if you want to be in the Kickstarter, there's one day where your money goes away. And with this one, it's like you can kind of know that it's happening. So I like that. As always, I'm very fond of James's avatars. He has gone completely gonzo on this one. I think
Does he have the huge sword this time again? or-
he's got some kind of giant weapon. I don't know. It's a lot. Like, I saw it and started laughing. My boyfriend was like, "What is wrong with you?" I was like,
I don't know if it's a Diclave or it's just some figment of his brain.
but he is very happy.
That's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair.
But yeah, so we actually just released another manuscript preview today as like a kickoff to Onyx PathCon.
The
So
architect.
if you want to go read about the architects who are all exalts of specific cities, you can go do
Mhm.
that. Which I think is a super cool idea, especially because some of the cities in creation are amazing and ridiculous. And so if you want to be an exalt of, Nexus or Great Forks or any of the other kind of fun cities, you can. We also put Great Forks in there, so there is more setting content. It's not just a manual on how to build your own exalts. There's also 2 completely built out individual exalts, Straw Maiden Janice, who is of course introduced in the core book and in the fiction, and then Pakpow, the puppeteer. We'll talk about that a lot more too. And then our final faction, I think, is releasing next week, is the Sovereigns. And they're more of a type of Exalt than a specific one, but they're very cool too, and they are kind of rock starry. Like
Nice.
we like
And
put
that's
a little bit of glam rock in those. They're a lot of fun.
oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
With the hair.
Well, hair is good. Our main guy has like gold eyeliner. They have a kind of rainbow aurora thing going on with a lot of
Okay.
their spells.
Nice.
Because they're from up in the mountains. So I am sure we will hear more about those in the Exalted panel, which is the next panel on this channel.
Indeed.
That rhymed way too much. I hated it.
No, it's perfect. Alliteration and rhyming is two favorite things in life.
I feel like
Mar-
panel on the channel is like Rumble in the Jungle. It just
The panel in the channel coming
Sunday,
Sunday.
oh
You buy the
god.
whole seat, but you're only gonna need the edge.
Oh no, I started it. Ah! And yeah, as people are saying in the chat, there are still some of the deluxes at IPR. We are having sales right now on IPR and Studio 2 and Drive-Thru
Drive-Thru.
RPG.
Yep.
So
Oh,
yeah.
there's a lot of stuff that's 50% off. We've been doing line specific sales every month, but this
Yes.
month, because it's Onyx PathCon, we have a whole bunch of stuff that's on sale, 50% off. So yeah, if you are, I mean, we talk a lot about the drive-through promotions we do because we love drive-through RPG. And if you want your PDF or print on demand, that's definitely the place to go. But if you're looking for a printed physical book, we also frequently have sales at our distributor Studio 2 and our friends at Indie Press Revolution. So
Mhm.
definitely, if you're looking for the beautiful deluxe books, those are the places you want to go. And like we said, a lot of them are 50% off right now. So definitely go check them out if you're saving up for that copy of Exalted 3E. And now's the best time to maybe look into it.
Do the thing. Do the
Yep.
thing.
I mean, and that's the whole thing. Is this is our 10th year. We've really decided we wanted to, coming out of all the stuff we've been telling you, we really wanted to look at the moving, of celebrating that we've done this for 10 years, like made this thing work for 10 years. It's really amazing. And we did it because all of you contributed, all of you are out there playing our games, buying our games, being supportive online. It's the dream come true. And we wanted to give some of that back. So hence, doing the convention and making sure that everybody's getting something nice out of it. And then every month we've been focusing on a different game line and doing a 90% off sale. So 10% of what the usual price would be for any of the things that are in that line.
Mhm.
Because it's our 10th anniversary, 10%. A 10 out of 10. I couldn't resist it. So but this month is strange because we're doing the convention. So we'd already done a whole bunch of sales, but we want to do another one just to celebrate the convention, just to celebrate this. And in order to give us plenty of room to do the convention and have enough bandwidth, because even virtual conventions are a huge amount of work, folks.
Oh yeah.
It was decided that June would be the month for my D&D setting that we published one book for so far. And that would be off. That would be the 10% off. So one slim volume.
I mean, it is our smallest line right now, technically.
Yeah. But
like Cavaliers at least has 2 books, 3
that was
books.
a bunch of books.
That means Chronicles of Continents is now tied. As you
Well-
all know, because Cavalry has 3 supplements to get those combined, so nothing.
Yes.
Still ahead.
Right now we've got Peoples of the Cross-Continent, which was what we've already published and which is on sale for at 10% of its normal price, and it's a bargain. I'll tell you, it's a bargain. It's nothing to do with the fact that it was my world and I wrote it.
Also, it had an
and did the
illustration
art.
of my character Jane Giantsbane in it, who I have mentioned many
Indeed.
times. An illustration by Richard Thomas, I should say.
That guy's great.
Like,
I love
it's
that guy.
actually kind of funny working here because random people keep illustrating my stupid characters. Like, Rich Thomas illustrating Jane, and Mel Uran drew my Pirates of Pugmire Snake. And I'm like, okay, famous artists want to draw my OCs? Thanks.
Or yeah, or famous artists
And
drawing
Mel's
us for
great.
the Pathcast.
Right? It's weird.
Mhm. That's what happens. You're in the big leagues now, kid. During this month, we have been playing our newest project that's just went on sale on Wednesday, which is a introductory dungeon for the Crossroads Continent, and the Pathcast crew have been playing. We
Yes.
did 2 episodes. I think in fact, today the second episode went live.
Yep.
So if you want to hear that actual play, that's it's we've been having an awful lot of fun. And then tomorrow at 10,
10 a.m.
10:30?
10
10
a.m.
a.m.
Eastern. Yes.
10 a.m. Will be the what's supposed to be the finale, but you'll see. If you but it really does bring a
All
bunch of this
died.
stuff together, and I hope everybody had fun. Everybody
Oh, yeah.
said that they had fun, which was very nice.
I'm pretty sure we all said
because
we wanted to keep playing.
Right.
you did indeed, and that is both thrilling and exciting and gratifying and terrifying. So because it's been a long time since I did a consistent
You're
running
doing
of
a
games.
great job. It's been we've had
And I
several
did it on
sessions now.
and I did it on Roll20, which I'd never done a game where I ran it on VTT,
Mhm.
and so that was really a great learning experience. I've played VTT, but I had never run something. So
Mhm.
getting into the nuts and bolts of the nitty gritties.
And
I
me
could-
editing the podcast of all the you going, Travis, how do I find this thing? Where
Yes.
is it?
And I was just about to say, and thank you so much to our good friend Travis Legg, who has been my wingman on this journey to bring my world into the fifth edition of the world's most popular role-playing game system,
Right.
our fantasy game, whatever they want to.
Also, as I said, the person who gave me a stream key at 5:01 when I was losing my goddamn mind. So
he's the keeper of the keys. He's the key master.
He's the keymaster.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing for this month, but it's we're going to continue on for the rest of the year. Every single month is going to be another highlighted game line, and there'll be sales, and there'll be actual plays, and there'll be interviews and everything throughout on our Twitch channel, and the Pathcast will focus in on whether it's an interview or play experience or of creating a character for anything like that. That's going to be happening all the rest of the year.
Yeah.
As we actually could use this year to put a lot of things into prep
Mhm.
for what we're going to do next year, and that's
Yeah.
really some of those things we will be announcing for reels during the course of this convention. Some of those things we're going to hint at, and we're going to leave it up to you to fill in a few of the blanks until we get to the stage where we're really, really, really going to announce them. So. And we're also going to try to do these things multiple times on the various panels. So, What's Up with Ice Path might say some things. Dixie's panel coming up
The Exalted panel?
after this
Yes.
may mention something or another, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of we heard the last couple of conventions people were saying, I didn't get to this one panel, and that was the one where the thing I wanted to hear about and ask about was actually dealt with. Life hits and it gets in the way. So
Two
we're
things.
trying to spread it out.
A, we are gonna spread it out, but B, these will all be on VOD.
Yeah.
And that. But,
Yeah.
you wanted it the moment.
I understand.
Yes, if you follow or subscribe to this Twitch channel, you will be able to access all of the videos that we produce during the course of this convention. If for whatever reason you aren't a user of Twitch and don't want to set up an account or don't want to use your Amazon Prime benefits to get a free subscription, that's fine, because over time, the various panels and streams, the actual plays that we do, as many as we can, will be transferred to the Onyx Path YouTube channel. There's often a bit of a delay on that, and the main reason is because if I make everything go live on YouTube at the same time, these basically videos get lost. People don't see them. They will only see sort of one pop up on the home screen, and very few people will click on subscriptions anymore. And so the rest just won't come out. But if I stagger it, you're more likely to see it. Anyway, easiest way, just follow this channel. It's free to do regardless, and it will allow you to actually watch any panels that you've missed.
Right.
Yeah.
And a quick note, that was gave me the Pathcast Q&A will also be on the Pathcast as well. Yes. So.
Yeah, I don't know that all the panels will be Pathcast episodes. Though,
No.
'cause I'm not
We have
actually
lots
sure
of other
what you're
content to
asking.
make.
But Pathcast episodes are always free on any podcatcher of your choice.
Right. Indeed.
Yeah. So
Yep.
so we have 40 minutes because this is an hour and a half panel. It's a long panel because we're
Oh,
yes.
special.
Well, can I talk about something that has excited me over the last year?
Well,
Yeah.
Does it have anything
Yeah.
to do with what we're doing?
Well, tangentially.
Okay.
yes,
It's
yes, you can. But then I'm going to do the actual thing I was going to do after that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I was going to talk about Tasty Bits because
yeah.
we
Okay.
have been talking about the way the industry has changed, the way the economy, what an exciting topic, has made
It's like
us.
that first Star Wars movie.
Well, I'd like to talk about the
Trade
economy,
wars.
and to be honest, I find it absolutely fascinating how the economy has affected the RPG
That sounds
industry.
like that editor Reginald.
It is
Yeah.
fascinating.
But one of the ways, I mean, we didn't do this as a direct, I guess, cause and effect, but one of the things we have been doing over the last year or so is these products called Tasty Bits for the various Onyx Path owned lines. So we've been doing them for Scion, Trinity, They Came From. Did I miss any? I think no, that's what we've been doing.
For 2021, yeah.
Yeah. And Tasty Bits are products that are usually sold. We're selling them for about $2 or $3 a piece. They're PDF only. They're on Drive-Thru RPG. We release a new one every single month for a different game line. And the thing I want to tell people watching, listening to this is don't sleep on these products. Don't think just because they only cost a few dollars, there's nothing in them. Some of the most inspired content I have seen for some of our game lines has ended up in these small supplements. And not only are they really expanding the range of things that you can do with some of our games in really interesting ways. What we've had pets, haven't we? We've had
Pets and Aeon, yeah.
Yeah, Pets and Aeon. We've had pretty much an entire scenario basis for Scion.
Including one about throwing cars. Yes.
And punching Zeus in the face.
Yes,
Yeah, for They Came From, I think it's the Bermuda Triangle one that has
Vehicle rules.
not only vehicle but maritime combat rules for different ships.
Yeah.
Look at his hat. He's wanted this for years.
Yeah, I mean, ever since I played Run Out the Guns, I thought what I really want
Oh my
is
Wooden ships and Iron Men.
That's
was
a
the
deep
one that I
cut.
played.
But yeah, we've got all kinds of things for so many of our Onyx Path owned games. And considering how low cost these are and how readable, how concise they are, you can pick these up, stick bits of them in your games, ignore the bits you don't want, but you can never really feel cheated because they are so low cost. And it would make my convention if more people check these things out, because there's a lot of heart in these individual tasty bits, in my opinion.
Tasty bits.
They are tasty bits, and to be honest, They Came From Dracula's Tomb is worth picking up just for Rich's illustration of Dracula at the rear end of that product.
It is my illustration dedicated to the amazing gentleman Gene Colan, artist of Tomb of Dracula for so many years. The run almost completely him.
Digression, but Gene Colan is one of the Marvel artists that does not get enough love, frankly. I mean, everyone talks about Jack Kirby, who is, of course, amazing, and you talk about a lot of the other artists at the time period, but Gene Colan is one that just never got enough love, in my opinion. So, yeah, I was glad to see that, too. That was really exciting as an old-school comics fan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Kung Fu Fenris just said looks at Bermuda Triangle, wants to use them for other Story Path games. That's absolutely fine. The good thing is, well, Story Path isn't universal in the sense there are some tweaks, there are some adjustments between the various Story Path games. They are adjustable enough that a system like Maritime Combat is usable. We use the vehicle tags rules for They Came From. We basically took that from Trinity with some tweaks. And to the extent that, and I'll talk about this more in the They Came From panel that will come up this weekend, but we have got air combat rules coming up in They Came From the Danger Zone for They Came From, which is our action movie one, because, you can't have a Top Gun-esque, action movie-esque game without some kind of jet flying sons of guns flying around doing loop-de-loops.
Well, I mean, in a lot of ways, Matthew, I mean, the first half of our existence as Onyx Path, the first 5 years was getting Story Path up to the point where people could actually see it. And then was it like 5 years ago that it went out to people during the Scion Kickstarter?
Yeah, that's when we started releasing the story path. We had the little booklet printed up that we started giving away at conventions. People started seeing it through the Scion Kickstarter. So yeah, people have been seeing it in some form for about 5 years now.
Yep.
So it's been public for five years. We worked on it for years before that, and we've seen a lot of evolution. If you're playing Scion, you want to make sure you read the Scion rulebook. Don't rely on the Trinity rulebook, but there's things in there that you might want to yank and stick in your Scion game.
Yeah.
That kind of watching people play it, see how people enjoy it. It's given us a lot of ideas on how, you know, the story path system, and it's evolved from Scion, Trinity, Dystopia Rising, Evolution into They Came From, in very interesting ways that, you know, started off as being specific for the game lines and things that they needed, and then continued to evolve. So it's still a system that is growing, and I think we're definitely looking at, for, you know, what is the next evolution of what we can do, what kind of game or you know, what kind of system are we going to have when it comes out of its chrysalis?
Yeah, because I mean, every time that you put out something new for a game, or something new for a game system, we refine it a little bit. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
it's like, oh, people were confused about this, so let's streamline it or clean it up a little bit when we present it here, and then we present this here, and people are a little confused about this. It's like, okay, let's streamline and fix that up, you know. And so, like, over the iterations, it's just gotten very clear what Story Path does really well.
Yeah.
And that's awesome, because that's what you want. You want your system to do the things you want to do well. So yeah, we are very excited to continue to work on Story Path games.
Absolutely. To get back to the Tasty Bits a little bit, I actually have seen people directly use Tasty Bits across game lines. For example, I know the pets thing we put out was specifically for Aeon, but I know at least a few people have been using it for Aberrants and I think Anima. But in terms like specifically for Aberrant, was like, you know, because there's powers we can summon creatures or manifest creatures, and so now I have rules to make my, you know, dog friends that get summoned, so which is great.
Yeah, it's also got like robot animals, so if you're doing something in Anima, you could very easily have a robot animal. In a world where glass exists, you could have a robot animal.
Well, right, but
A world where glass exists.
In a
the
world.
person mentioning it was like doing kind of like the robotic animals from like Blade Runner kind of stuff, like the robotic owl and things like that.
Yes, the movie I have definitely seen, Blade Runner.
You haven't seen Blade Runner?
No.
We have to have a talk later. I actually just wrote an essay about Blade Runner, and I have thoughts. But someone in chat also, Zach Rules, asked if there are any plans for a Tasty Bit compilation for POD, and it's something we're thinking about.
Yeah.
We don't have a firm answer yet on that front, but initially it was just, you know, again, it was 2021 we started this, so Rich was like, can we think of something that gets small, low-cost, fun things out the door? How can we make easy buy things for people that reduce our costs? So they weren't originally designed to be compiled, but now that we have a lot of them out there, people didn't really dig them. It's like, okay, now we can look back and see maybe if there's things we can do to clean it up and make it all work as a book. We have to sit down and think that through and do the math on it, frankly. And we have, like Rich said, there's a lot of other backlog things that we're trying to get out the door. So we haven't had the time recently to kind of really think through all that stuff yet.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. There's always a bandwidth, you know, juggle that's going on, and I think that you know, in the case of the Tasty Bits, the other thing to remember is that there's a minimum size that we really have to work with when we're putting things into POD. Right. So while a nice little pamphlet might be cool, we may not even be able to do it like logistically.
A compilation of all of them might be possible, but we'd have to see.
Right. But it's and do we do things like, do we combine all the Scion stuff together? Do we put all the games together? Those are questions we haven't thought through yet. I mean, so we could do a big book of everything, but then it's just every game jammed in there. But like as Ian pointed out, in 2020, we did do just the one kind of Dystopia Rising one, and like the first tasty bit was just a character sheet because we had a cool piece of art that we never used. And Mike's like, "Create characters." I wrote a character for Annie X for Scion.
yeah.
So those are the kinds of things that like.
Who's now
How
been
do we
used
get
in
those
other
in?
places.
That's because
Yeah.
NEX is great.
Yeah, but it was Mike commissioned it, and then we just got cut, and it's like, well, let's use it. Some of those, I think it could be put together, but we have to again think that through. It's not as simple as just jam them together. Like Rich said, if we do it line specifically, there's minimum page lengths that we can't hit. If we do all of them together, then that's going to be an odd marketing thing. So it's possible. We have to just think about it.
Yeah. One of the other really cool things about the Tasty Bits, which I mean, I don't want to talk about this forever, but we can talk about it as long as we want to. It's our panel. Is that
6 more hours.
oh, okay. I'm gonna at some point I will just
Release the
leave to
Schneider
go
cut of the
eat.
opening ceremonies.
Oh no. But one really cool thing about them is that because we do most of them in house, not all of them. We do have a few of our freelance writers who have done a bunch of them. But you are actually getting a lot of them written by like Matthew and Eddie and myself and Ian. And then of course Hiromi Kota has written some of the Scion ones. So has Jeffrey McVeigh is doing an upcoming one. And who wrote the car one?
Oh, that was Chris Mazur.
Yeah. So like, but Polyphemus was me and Ian Watson. It was one of those things where we had the same idea separately, and we're like, oh my god, we gotta do this. And if you haven't checked it out, Polyphemus is a faction in Trinity for the core game that is an SCP/Control, the video game style situation with the X-Files and stuff mixed in. So if you want a slightly more supernatural, weird Trinity core game, that's specifically there to enable that. Just because Ian and I both really like Control and a bunch of other stuff, and so we just were like, but yeah, and like I know that there's a bunch of they came from ones that are all amazing, and I've had fun editing all of them except one so far. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing about it, is we have so many fantastic game lines, and within like a line, there's also like Trinity Continuum. There's Aberrant. There's Adventure. There's that other one, Aeon.
Abomination.
Right there. I mean, there's Assassins. There's the core book itself. There's so much, and of course Anima. So there, and don't even get started talking about World of Darkness and Chronicles of Darkness and such. And we know people love different ones, and we've always tried to put things out for that. So if you look, every single Wednesday there's something that goes on sale, and it's something that is then available, and it may not be your personal level of interest, but there's somebody else out there who's really excited by the fact that we put this thing out. And so we're always trying to make sure we're putting something out somehow that's tied into the interests in the various game lines that our community has.
So as we are wrapping up, we have 45 minutes left, but people have been asking.
You're gonna flip the
questions.
table.
I'm off.
Again, this is a Schneider cut of the opening ceremonies. It's gonna be a while. But if you have questions, we've been asking some in the chats. Some of those we'll answer in chat, some of those we'll answer here. But if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll get to them as we see them. And some of your questions, like if you have specific project questions, those are best saved for either the game line specific panels we have coming up or for the What's Up with Onyx Path panel.
Yeah.
This is much more kind of just us faffing around for an hour and a half, frankly.
Yeah, so that was something I was going to say earlier before Matthew brought up Tasty Bits half an hour ago.
3 days ago.
Yeah, it's been 84 years. Is that I just wanted to say, like, when those were going to be. There is a schedule pinned on our Discord. There's a schedule on the most recent Monday meeting blog. There's, I think, some schedule stuff on Start Playing. But just so y'all know, Exalted, tonight, 7 o'clock. That's Exalted main 3rd edition line. Scion, tonight, 8:30. Virtual games, tonight, 10 o'clock. Tomorrow, we have They Came From at 10 a.m. So Matthew can be on it and not be up super late like he is right now. We have a Story Path Q&A
Very tired.
at 11:30. Our mage panel is at 1 p.m. So if you have mage questions, great place to be. And I'm assuming that is Mage the Ascension. It would be weird if it was something else. Then we have our Brana interview at 2:30.
2:30.
Trinity will be from 4 to 5. So if you have Trinity questions, show up there. What's up with Onyx Path? 5:30. Lots of announcements. Crossroads Continent at 7 tomorrow.
Yes,
Also-
everybody needs to attend that. It's going to be fascinating.
Yeah,
I promise.
That was actually mandatory. So if you're here, you just have to be there. There's no way to.
Everything you're looking at, well, even if you're not looking
Yeah.
at our stuff, it's now we put a thing into your streaming thing, and it's just going to pop to that.
Yeah, I mean, I may actually be
Would be.
running a game at that exact time, but what we're going to do is we're just going to stop the game partway through.
I just
So
watch.
that- and everyone go to watch Rich for an hour.
There you go. It'll be particularly fun because if Dixie's feeling up for it and isn't all night called out, she's supposed to be there as one of the newer players.
Wow,
of
did
this-
you just like retcon me being young? You were gonna say young players, and I was there for it, and you were like newer, and I was like,
If you, I didn't want to put a thing on you, but if you want to be one of the younger players, you
Yes.
certainly are.
I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Only my kids were younger. And then assuming that everything works out, one of my old players is going to show up, and he started playing back when he was a freshman in high school.
Nice.
So
But yeah, then we have Pugmire at 8:30. I'm assuming Eddie will be there. I don't know, maybe.
I'm obviously gonna.
He's just
screw
some
off.
guy. Chronicles of Darkness at 10 p.m. tomorrow. Pathcast Live 10 a.m. Sunday. Exalted Essence 11:30 a.m. Sunday. Ghost Hunters and Werewolf the Apocalypse 1 p.m. Ian is interviewing Rich at 2:30
Yep.
on Sunday. That'll be super fun. We have a community content panel at 4.
so how much do you love Aeon, eh?
the entire panel is just going to be like, what are we doing for training next? What are we doing for training next?
Ian just, yeah, because it's really, 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 really a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, Ian. Yeah, really.
Yeah, and then we have closing ceremonies after that. And if I'm feeling well, I'm going to keep a caveat on that for right now. I did plan to run an after party where we play Jackbox just like we did last year. Hopefully I'll still be up for doing that because I have fun with Jackbox and I like being social. So as long as I haven't like talked myself hoarse, and even if I have, I can probably still play Jackbox. It's mostly about messing around on your phone. So
Watch out, she's a Jackbox shark at this point.
She is.
I mean, there are some games you can't really be a shark at, but there are some that maybe you can.
I'm just saying. I lost $50 last time. That's all I'm saying.
I have never taken your money, sir.
Yet.
Sir. The
Sir.
Wendy's.
This is a Wendy's.
At no point have we ever played with real money. Never have
Wink,
we used real
wink.
money. We've never gambled in this, sir.
Sir. But yeah, so we've got all those individual panels going off all weekend where you can ask all the questions you want. If you don't see your game, it's probably covered by a broader panel. Like if you don't see, Dystopia Rising and that's your boiling question, it's probably on the Story Path Q&A. So yeah, we have stuff going on all weekend, and of course tons of games to watch, tons of games to play in, lots of great GMs over on Start Playing, and lots of great things on all of our partner channels, of which there are, 4 or 5?
A lot.
I should probably shout them out.
I was looking at this. Looking at the screen. There's at least 4 other.
Shout out Dork
Partners.
Tales. Shout out Occultist Anonymous. Shout out Plastic Age Plays. Shout out Rolling Nomads. Those are all the ones on the spreadsheet, so I'm assuming that's all there are. If there's more, I don't know about it.
There may be others.
Well, it's they're not on the spreadsheet, which means that they don't have anything assigned to them, which means they don't matter.
A lot of great people have stepped up to help us with the convention, and we really, really do appreciate it. Even if Dixie can't remember all of whom they are.
It's,
Yeah, we can,
I
we
have
can,
COVID.
but now, if we name them, we're going to be showing Dixie. up. So
Exactly right. We
it's-
cannot.
It's
we-
better that we just move on.
May I remind all of you gentlemen that I have COVID right now. You should be nice
She's
to
got
me.
to take
Oh,
one. She's
likely
not afraid to
excuse.
use
Well,
it.
you should be wearing a mask then and keeping away from us.
I could put my
She could
mask
not.
back
I mean, the only way
on.
she could be further from you is if she moved to like California.
Is this
That's
better?
true.
Is this what you want
That's
from me?
Yes, I feel safer. That's
I'm
for
wearing
sure.
a KN95 and my nerdy Kepi Proud to the Bone pride mask over it. Like,
But
Right.
your microphone is good enough that your audio is still coming through.
That's actually pretty good.
yeah,
crystal
great,
clarity,
awesome,
so-
awesome. I'm glad I put on lipstick for this. Now it's going to be on the inside of my mask.
Well,
It's your fault, Matthew.
I would say.
But then you can turn
it-
your mask around. It'll make it look like it's your mouth with the lipstick on it.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a KN95, so it barely touched it.
Oh, nice.
I have this back here because my boyfriend is currently still negative for COVID-19, so we are not being near each other right now. Pretty much.
Speaking of programming, I think there's only been like one change so far. Is on one of the schedules there was something that was strangely mentioned called Eddie's Game Show. That is not happening for just there's so much going on we couldn't make it work.
We were trying to con Eddie into running a game show, and he stood his ground.
But I stood my ground by saying maybe no one wants to play. But we have so many people doing so much stuff. We just could kind of make it work. But we are going to use it at some point in the future for probably a Pathcast episode as the current discussion.
Eddie, did you watch when Jack Birkenstock did a game show?
I don't think I
It was
did.
Win Jack Birkenstock's Games.
Oh,
Oh.
I heard about it, but I didn't
Based
watch
off
it.
of the old Win
Win
Ben
Ben
Stein's
Stein's
Dime's
Money.
money, yeah.
And it was a trivia thing where finally he joined in on it, and yeah, he won. No one got his game.
So he won his
but-
own games?
He was up against Bear at the end, Eddie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's a tough challenge.
Yeah, and it was it was really it was fun. But I was thinking, what if Eddie adapted that into, he could
Win Eddie's
he could work with Jack for some sort of thing.
I'm going to
I
take
don't
know.
the
Honestly,
Pugmire IP from you. I'm gonna
Me
win
and
your
Jack
game.
doing super nerdy trivia would probably be an interesting experience.
Oh well, there was a Doctor Who question that no one got, Eddie, and I was going out
What?
of my mind.
What? Oh my god.
I always
Philistines.
love it when there's like a trivia thing that happens, whether it's like in a podcast or on TV, and like it's so obvious to you, and you're just like yelling at the person, like, no, you're wrong. Come on. I do that in my head on podcasts all the time, where the host will like be like, oh, what was that movie with that thing, and they'll like go off on a tangent, and I'm like, it was there. Like, come on.
Oh, I get very angry in general, but
I mean, yeah, you're a raging monster.
everyone knows.
Rageaholic.
I am barely under control right now.
That's a
And
secret, Cap.
exactly. But a couple of friends of mine, we finished up our game of Gloomhaven the other night and decided
Finish
to watch.
Gloomhaven? Oh, you just
No, just a
okay.
scenario. No one finishes Gloomhaven.
You only quit
What's
Gloomhaven,
happening
you don't
in
have to
my
finish
world?
Gloomhaven.
It was a long pandemic. We got to the end of our scenario. We decided to watch something on Netflix, and we decided just to watch some of that. Is It Cake?
Is it cake? Is
I love
amazing.
Is It Cake.
No, it isn't.
It
Well,
is.
I was raging, and not at the contestants, not at the premise, which is admittedly pretty wafer thin,
The,
but,
the title tells you the entire premise.
but at the host, the setup, the distance from which they had to guess, is that a cake or not? There's no way of telling. You're something like 50 feet away. These things are very small. On
Well, they have a 50-50 chance, right? It's either cake
well,
or it's
exactly.
not.
So, I mean, it's
No,
equivalent
it's
to deal or
five
no
things.
deal.
Yeah.
Right, it's
Yeah.
just one of 5 things. That's like a 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if anything, yeah, their chances are reduced on the stupid game show. But anyway, I was livid. But one thing I was thinking, if we ever do go back into that trivia world, it's time for me to roll out Vampire the Masquerade, the trivia game.
Oh my god, no,
Oh,
not this.
yes.
Because I still have the files for that. For that unreleased gem.
It would have been glorious, Matthew.
It wouldn't. So here's a
Really would have been.
Here's a little known fact for viewers. My actual first assignment for, not Onyx Path, but for White Wolf, circa 2007, I would say, 7 or 8,
That's about right.
was for Vampire the Masquerade, the trivia game, which, after all the questions were written, I think it was quite wisely judged as this would be no fun for anyone.
It would be fun for Matthew Dawkins.
So
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. I
so
mean,
wrong. People
Uh,
would have loved it. They would have had so much fun with it. Nobody likes to sit around and come up with the tiniest little bits of details from their favorite things more than role-playing gamers.
Yeah, I can get that when it's a very broad meta plot question, like what's the name of the Malkavian antediluvian or something like that. But when the question is name the sire of this obscure NPC from LA by Night, the source book, and this person is just a one line in a source book, not mentioned anywhere else.
Exactly. Somebody would know that, though. That's the beauty
Yes,
of it.
I would. It was a game written by me for me.
I think it was underestimated how many people would have been able to really enjoy this, but that's okay.
Yeah.
There's so many things under the bridge that we know existed, but that the general public and would be so disappointed to learn that the thing never was created. And we just won't tell anybody. It's just a secret.
Yep.
You never heard
No
this.
matter how many times you ask us at any of the panels.
But interestingly enough, that's not too far from the premise of my actual game show. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but basically, the first chunk of questions are I quote a line from an Onyx Path book, and there's a word or two missing that you have to fill in. And then the next round is I quote a sentence from an Onyx Path book, but something in it is wrong.
You tell us what book it is?
I'll tell you what book it is, yeah, but I won't tell you what page number until after.
Arms.
As I always say, as I edit books, they just fly right out my head. So I will be terrible at this game, unless the questions are like, be a blank dog. Then I could probably do it.
They came from the dog.
What?
Bia, they came from the dog. Doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. Well, unfortunately, that's the only game line I know nowadays.
They came from the dog.
Yeah, they came from something. That I insert that in every gap now.
So
They came from the Onyx Path.
This
Yeah.
is going to be an amazing game show. I'm looking
I
forward
think
to
that my current favorite thing about Danger Zone, this is just a whole they came from riff now, is that it scans to the actual song because they came from and
Yes.
I would do,
They
came from the Danger Zone. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, most people are trying to fly to the danger zone, but not these guys. They're coming from the
From it.
danger
Because
zone.
because
yeah.
they've already been
fire.
there.
Yeah,
On fire and holding on to the people they rescued.
in slow motion
While
as
firing
as
behind
the
them.
danger zone explodes behind them.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is Dixie's superpower because to give you insight into how important our meetings are, there have been meetings where Dixie will repeatedly yell at me that something I said does not scan to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme song.
That's because things. Yeah, I have two superpowers. I have one that just applies to different songs, and that is me being able to tell immediately if something will scan to either Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Alexander Hamilton. And I am awful at like restaurants because I'm like,
I mean, ALEXHA.
no, like cheesy beef and curly fries. I'm getting cheesy beef and curly fries. Like just like my brain is weird. I have ADHD.
It's fine. I was doing some laundry today. This is where this opening ceremony has got to. And
Matthew's doing laundry, everyone.
and I was taking the laundry basket downstairs, singing "It's a nice day for some whitewashing."
You're officially old. Are
Didn't,
officially old.
didn't the Monday meeting blog recently come from me singing Wham at a Monday meeting?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. I told you what to think. Okay, I got my title.
Go, go.
I want to point out, not only to the viewers, but also to the panelists, that our viewer numbers, contrary to every other stream we've ever done, have gone up since we've started.
Singing?
Yeah, so clearly this is the key. We do need to make a musical game.
Well, either that or
They came from Broadway.
well,
Yeah.
well, the problem is you will do that, and then it'll immediately become they came from the content strike. So I mean, that's not going to work out.
Oh,
well
yeah.
for you.
Yeah, no, I am always like, I know I'm not that good of a singer, but I've heard of people's streams getting taken down for worse. So I'm always like, I can sing one line from anything.
So what happened, City?
Oh,
Nothing.
Twitch. If you quote a certain length of song and that length is unknown, then Twitch will take down your stream because you are playing copyrighted material.
Mm.
Oh, it's an ASCAP thing.
Yep. And it's called a content strike.
Ah. Well, that would devastate me.
All right. Well, we
Hey, you
have.
want to know? You want to hear a trivia story,
Sure.
which some people might appreciate.
I'm sure that's why everyone's tuning in.
We have.
Absolutely, I could sing it.
I will say we have 10 minutes left, so if anybody wants to put questions in the chat, now's the time to do it. But we are going to have Q&As later.
While I tell you this little story,
Go ahead and tell the story.
playing trivia with during the pandemic when we were all quarantined inside our house. myself and the children that I had in the house with me,
Just
as
random
well as
children.
no,
Like-
my
Yeah,
children,
this is-
Oh, okay.
he
my
captured them
many
off the street.
children,
Fagin.
and yes, go out and steal. And my oldest daughter, who ran the team, did a Zoom in trivia night with a guy that we had originally gone to a bar to do. He was the trivia master, and for one of his questions, he held up a redrawing of a magic card and asked a question about the magic card. And I said immediately what the answer was, and he disputed it.
And
so
it was Lemures,
so-
wasn't it?
she said, "Look at the name at the bottom of the card. That's my dad. You're arguing with the guy who made that."
It's amazing.
And he immediately gave us the points, and that's really what mattered, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's really funny.
Technically correct is the best kind of correct.
Yeah, I have seen that story mistold so many times that
But the magic card?
yeah, that it was your fault. Everywhere you see that story online, they're always like,
Oh, you're talking about the lemur?
yes.
Oh,
They're always like,
Oh,
oh, the
don't get me
artist didn't
started on that.
know. And I'm like, yeah, he did. They told him to draw a lemur, and he did.
I asked, "Do you mean the demon or the little fuzzy animal with the big eyes?" And the art director said, "I guess the animal." I was okay. Because I don't think she was a D&D player, and I don't think she had the first monster manual that had them in there as one of the monsters. But I was.
And coincidentally, in yesterday's game, when we were playing of Crossroads Constant, we were fighting lemures in the underworld.
They
yeah.
were gross. They were all
they were
squishy.
gross.
Yeah.
I'm glad that came across.
I disliked.
Someone has asked what my fave, or what our fave pantheons are from Scion. Does anybody have a favorite pantheon from Scion?
I'm kind of partial to the Tuatha.
Yeah, after having read and run the thing with Demigod, I'm kind of partial to the Bogovi now because I really like their write-up and their pantheon powers.
Mhm.
I've been a fan of Chernobog because of American Gods and also because of loving Fantasia as a child.
Mhm,
Mhm.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's the best part of Fantasia is like on Bald Mountain. Which
Oh
is,
yeah,
is
as a kid,
Chernobog.
I was like, oh, that's so cool.
So yeah, like I loved making a scion of him that was an agent of chaos, and as I told Erica Fassett, who wrote that pantheon on Twitter earlier, like it's we did a character creation thing for the Pathcast, and I like desperately want to play this character now.
Mhm.
I'm like I really want to play this character because I love her so much. So yeah.
I'm fond of the Aztecs.
Yeah, me too. I've
Teotl?
obviously there's something classical, of course, classic about the Theoi. Classicals, classics. But I do think the Aztecs are my preference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to know more about the Incas and the Mayas, as we deal with them in Scion.
Mm.
But I haven't really delved into it as much as the Aztecs.
So Zach asked what panel that you aren't on are you most excited for?
I'm looking forward to the Crossroads Continent panel.
I'm
I wanna
on
get-
10 panels.
Is there a
Ma-
panel you're not on, Dixie?
I'm not on Scions. I'm looking forward to see everybody talk about that. And I'm actually really interested to see what Rich and Ian's conversation ends up being. So
Yeah, that's true too.
yeah. Also, I will be watching the Game From panel, which I am not on, but I'm excited about. So yeah.
Oh, I am very much looking forward to the What's Up with Onyx Path panel because I'm
Oh,
not
right, because you're
on
not
it.
on that.
Yeah,
We're just
I'm
gonna talk a lot of
run-
shit about you.
Well, that's fine. I would.
Yeah,
expect
I'm actually
not-
going to be Matthew Dawkins for a
Yeah.
while. I'm going to get my naval cap and just.
Your pipe.
We'll fight
Or I'll
them
do
on the
Neil's
beaches.
impersonation of you.
Oh God, please don't.
No.
Please don't.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
Or did he turn you Australian? I don't know.
But yes, yeah, I'm not on What's Up with Onyx Path for the first time, I think, in several years because I'm running They Came from Camp Murder Lake at that exact time.
Yes.
So while I'm busy murdering teens in a simulated environment, you will, of course, be talking about all kinds of teasers, announcements, news about upcoming products, and I don't know what we're making. I don't know what I'm doing one day to the next, so I'm looking forward to catching up on that.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the Story Path Q&A, to be honest, because I like to know what some of the cues are.
Yeah. I always look forward to anything where we do audience questions because it's just nice to see what happens and what people have questions about.
Right.
We've got 3 minutes, so I have only seen Fantasia 2000 once. Person who asked about Fantasia, so I don't remember. Fantasia 1 is superior, but also has racist bits, so keep that in mind if you go to watch it.
But Grease 2 is superior to Grease 1. It's indisputable.
No,
We're not having this conversation
that's
again.
absolutely
No.
true. Yes.
We're not having this conversation again.
Also, one of my favorite podcasts, This Ends at Prom, has verified me on that. They have backed me up. They agree. So if you want to go, so that you can.
You can't believe things you hear on the internet. Dixie.
I don't. I
True.
hear them on my phone.
What did you... Move on. Next question.
Last question I'm going to ask right now is, when's the next Eddie versus Matthew charity game competition?
Oh, a nice question.
When was the first one? Did we have a charity game competition?
when you earned $30 more than me,
Matthew
you've already
wasn't
forgotten,
competing,
you've already
dear
forgotten your
boy.
win. God, this is Mario Kart all over again, isn't it?
It was only important
Who
to
are
you,
you?
Eddie.
God.
Well, was there actually a competition? What did we do? I am genuinely drawing a blank on
I had joked on Twitter that you were making $30 more in total for the seats, and you said, people need to reach their bid so that I don't possibly win.
Well, that I forgot that because it was trivial to me.
It's Mario Kart all over again.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I try, there will be no Eddie Webb in this competition. It will just be Matthew Dawkins is running
versus
games.
Matthew Dawkins.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we could do another competition. People bidding on playing a game with us. It might get heated. It might get venomous. If anything, I encourage it.
Venomous or poisonous.
Or toxic. I think in this case, Eddie would be the face, and I would be the heel. He's the wily veteran. You see,
cream rises to the top.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I'm the plucky young upstart that wants to knock him off his pedestal. They call me Sailor Boy.
I'm sure some people do, but
well,
and Mike Cheney in the chat says, but to Matthew Dawkins, it was Tuesday. So
yes.
That summarizes our relationship, I think.
On that note, thank you all for joining us for the opening ceremonies. We're not gonna do handles and stuff because they've been below us this whole time, and you can read. I think maybe you could be a baby. I don't know who you are. What?
No judge.
Babies could be watching this.
The lucrative
Pressing
baby
buttons.
market for the Onyx Path games.
We've got friends that have babies. I don't know.
trust me, 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds can find things on the internet that you cannot believe they get to.
Either way,
Hey.
thank you all for attending. The next panel, like I said, is the Exalted panel at 7.
In a mere half hour.
In a mere half hour, which is why I'm cutting us off on time because I want a 15-minute break before I run tech for that one. So everybody have a good time. And Rich, do you want to say the thing?
This is going to be like the motto.
Yes.
Okay. Let me think for a second.
Well, I meant
You know what the motto
the
is.
actual motto for our company. No.
Yes, I have to remember. Well, I want to do the new one because it's the 10-year anniversary, right? So
Oh.
it's
a new one.
Oh, right. We changed it.
thanks for starting off this virtual convention with us this year and joining us with these opening ceremonies. Onyx Path, 10 years, many worlds, one path.